My name is Ryan Miller. If you're reading this story, I might not be alive anymore. Or maybe I am, but that distinction doesn't mean much anymore. It all started 3 months ago. I lived in a small town in Ohio and was a cybersecurity student. I often had a hobby of searching for strange things on the internet at night. One night, around 2 a.m., my friend Jack Foster and I were talking on a video call. It was raining. The wind was beating against the windows. And the only light in my room was the computer screen. "Dude, show me something interesting." Jack laughed. The ghost forum from last time was so boring. I opened a few websites, but didn't find anything special. Then a name caught my eye. LastViewer.Live. I'd never seen this website before. No details. No logo. Just a black screen. And a red button in the middle. Watch live. "This looks weird," Jack said. "Open." I clicked the button. The screen loaded. And then a live video started. The video showed a room. A small room. A chair. An old TV. And a clock on the wall. That's all. No people. No movement. What nonsense is this? Jack laughed. I was about to turn it off too, when suddenly, the TV turned on by itself. There was a noise on the screen. Then a face appeared. A man. His eyes were unusually large. His face was very thin. And his smile, unnatural. He was looking straight at the camera. Then he said, "Is anyone watching?" A cold wave ran through my body. Then a number appeared below the video. Viewers 1. I was shocked. 1. Jack also fell silent, because there were 2 of us watching the video. Then the number changed. Viewers 2. Viewers 3. Viewers 4. Someone else is watching, I said. But the strange thing was that there was no chat. There was no user list. Only the number was increasing. Then suddenly the man spoke again. "Thank you for watching me." He bowed his head, then slowly raised his head. And at that moment my breath stopped, because he was no longer looking at the camera. He was looking straight at me, as if he knew I was sitting on the other side of the screen. Then he said my name, Ryan. My hands froze on the keyboard. Jack screamed. "He called your name." I immediately closed the browser. Silence fell in the room. Only the sound of rain remained. It must be a hacker, I consoled myself, but my heart was not believing. At that moment, a notification came on my phone. Unknown number. The message only had one sentence. "Why did you turn off the stream?" My blood ran dry, because I had never given my number to this website. I was about to write a reply when another message came. "Don't look behind the window." My hands started shaking. My room was on the 2nd floor, and outside my window there was only rain and darkness. I tried to stop myself, but human nature is strange. What is forbidden, the heart wants to do. I slowly turned to the window. Rain was falling on the glass. It was completely dark outside. At first, nothing was visible. Then lightning flashed. Just for a second. And in that 1 second, I saw someone. A tall man, in black clothes, standing right outside my window. Outside the window of the 2nd floor, where no human could stand. And he had the same smile on his face. That was on the face of the man with the live stream. Then the electricity disappeared. The darkness returned. And the last message came to my phone. "Now you have also joined the audience." I stood still in front of the window for a few seconds. My hands were shaking. My heart was beating so fast I could hear my own breathing. I dared to look outside again, but there was no one there. Just rain, just darkness, and an empty street. This can't be real, I said to myself. Just then Jack's voice came over the speaker. "Ryan, what happened? Why are you quiet?" I immediately returned to the computer. "Man, there was someone outside my window just now." There was a moment of silence. Then Jack laughed. "Are you kidding?" "I'm serious." My voice was shaking. Jack's laughter stopped immediately. "You look really scared." I showed him all the messages. For the first time, Jack looked confused too. "This is weird. Very weird. How did someone get your phone number?" I had no answer to that question. We searched the internet for about an hour about LastViewer.Live, but nothing came up. No articles, no forum posts, no records. It was as if the website didn't exist. But then, Jack found something. An old Reddit post. The post was about 7 years old. Its title was, "If you find LastViewer.Live, close it immediately." My heart was pounding. We opened the post. The post was only 3 lines long. "I saw this stream. They called my name. If I don't come back online, they'll understand." The account of the person who wrote this post had been silenced forever. His last activity was also on the same day. A cold wave ran through my body. "This could be a joke," Jack said. But there was no confidence in his voice either. At that moment, my phone rang again. Unknown number. New message. "Why are you researching?" My breath caught. I immediately put the phone on the table. Now, this is getting too weird. Jack also fell silent. We both knew that someone was watching us. But how? And why? I could hardly sleep that night. I woke up at 7 in the morning. I picked up the phone, and my heart sank. I had 137 new messages from the same number all night. All the messages had only one sentence. "We're watching." Over and over. Over and over. Over and over. I hung up the phone immediately. Now I was really scared. That afternoon, Jack came to my house. The worry was clearly visible on his face. I tried to find out more about the person who wrote that post last night. "So?" I asked. Jack held out a printed newspaper in front of me. The newspaper was dated 2019. The headline read, "For young men mysteriously missing." Below were the photos. My blood ran cold. One of the 4 people was the same person who wrote the Reddit post. "These people have never been found," Jack said in a low voice. "And listen," he showed me the second part of the newspaper. The computers of the 4 young men had one thing in common. According to the police report, a few days before the disappearance, they had watched an unknown live stream. My hands started shaking. I put down the newspaper. The room fell silent. Then, my computer screen lit up by itself. Even though the computer was off, both Jack and I froze. There was a black background on the screen, and in the middle was a white sentence. "Welcome back, Ryan." "This is impossible," Jack whispered. Then a video started playing on the screen. The same room, the same chair, the same old TV. And this time, someone was sitting on the chair. A man. His head was bowed down. His face was not visible. Then he slowly raised his head. I was about to scream, because that man, I was myself. My own face, my own eyes, my own smile. The eye on the screen was looking straight at me. Then it moved its lips and said, "Your turn is almost here." At that moment, the video stopped. The room fell silent again. But the color had drained from my and Jack's faces. Because now we were sure. This was not a hacker. This was not a joke. And what was watching us, it wasn't just on the internet. It had entered our world. Jack and I stared at the computer screen for several minutes. The room was as silent as if the wind had stopped. There was only one question running through my mind. Who made that video? And an even scarier question. How did he get my face? "We should go to the police," I said. Jack nodded immediately. "And what are we going to tell them? That a mysterious website took your name, then showed you a duplicate of yourself?" I fell silent. He was right. No one would believe us. Meanwhile, Jack started searching for something on his laptop. If this website exists, it must have a server. About half an hour later, he suddenly said, "Ryan, I've found something." I went closer to him. A secret archive website was open on his screen. Thousands of old files were stored there, and in them was a folder called Project Last Viewer. My body shivered. Jack opened the folder. Inside were hundreds of documents. Many of the files were corrupt. Many were locked, but a PDF file opened. The title was Observation Log. We opened the file. On the first page was just one sentence. "Whoever watches the stream becomes part of the stream." My throat went dry. Jack opened the next page. There were dozens of names listed. Each name had a date written in front of it, and all of these people were declared missing. Then suddenly my eyes fell on one name, Ryan Miller. My hands started shaking. No, I whispered. There was a date written in front of the name. November 27th, 2023. I looked at the calendar. Today was November 24th. That meant there were only 3 days left. My breath caught. This is a joke. I kept saying that. But my heart knew it wasn't a joke. That's when Jack saw something else. His own name, Jake Foster. And there was a date written in front of it too. But Jack's date was a day later than mine. Silence fell in the room. Now for the first time, Jack's face also turned white with fear. How is this possible? He barely said. We opened the last pages of the file. There were some photos there. All the photos were of the same room. The same room that was visible in the live stream. The same chair. The same TV. But my heart stopped when I saw one photo. There was a man sitting on a chair. His face was not visible. But there was a date written below the picture. 1978. Then the next picture. 1986. Then the next. 1999. And then 2019. In each picture, a new man was sitting on the chair. But there was one thing in common. All of these people were later reported missing. And then we got to the last picture. This picture had no date, because that picture was not yet complete. The man sitting on the chair in the picture was blurry, but the more we looked, the more the face became clearer. And then, I saw myself. It was me. Exactly me. In the same clothes I had just been wearing. The mouse fell out of my hand. At that moment, the electricity in the whole house went out. Tick. Darkness enveloped everything. I immediately turned on my phone's flashlight. Jack. No answer. Jack. Silence. My heart beat faster. I swung the flashlight around. The room was empty. Jack had disappeared. He had been with me just seconds before. There was no one there now. Then a voice came from the darkness. Very close. Right next to my ear. The first viewer has been selected. I jumped in fear. But there was no one there. Only darkness. Then my phone screen lit up automatically. A new notification appeared. LastViewer.Live is now streaming. My hands started shaking, because I never opened that website again. But this time, there was another line written below the notification. Live viewers 1. Current guest, Jake Foster. My blood froze. Was Jake inside the stream now? My fingers were frozen to the phone. The same words were still flashing on the screen. Live viewers 1. Current guest, Jake Foster. I kept meeting eyes. Maybe it was a bad dream. Maybe I was sleeping. Maybe it was all a game of my mind. But that whisper was still ringing in my ears. The first viewer has been selected. I clicked on the notification with trembling hands. This time the website opened immediately. No loading. No password. As if it was waiting for me. The same room was on the screen. The same chair. The same old TV. The same dirty floor. But this time the chair was not empty. Jack was sitting there. My breath caught. Jack. I screamed. Of course he couldn't hear me. But the strange thing was that Jack was looking straight at the camera, as if he sensed my presence. There were dark circles under his eyes. His face looked unusually pale. And the scariest thing, he wasn't blinking. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. His eyes were constantly open. I immediately picked up my phone and called Jack. No answer. Call again. No answer. Then again. No answer. I ran to his house in a panic. Outside, the rain had gotten heavier than before. 15 minutes later, I arrived at his house. The front door was open. It was strange. Jack always kept the door locked. I went inside. Jack. No answer. The house was silent. So quiet that I could hear my own breathing. I slowly went upstairs. The door to his room was half open. I pushed, and the scene I saw, he has never forgotten it. Jack was sitting in his computer chair, absolutely silent. Absolutely silent. And his eyes were fixed on the computer screen. Jack. I ran towards him. He didn't react. I shook his shoulder. Then he slowly looked at me, and I backed away in fear. because he didn't look like Jack. His pupils had almost disappeared. His eyes looked completely white, and there was a strange smile on his face, exactly like the face of the person I saw in the first dream. "You're late, Ryan,"
he said softly.
A cold wave ran through my body. "Jack, are you okay?" He didn't answer,
just pointed at the screen.
I looked at the computer. LastViewer.Live was open, and on the screen, I could see my own room, my own house, my own window.
Live.
At that moment, I shivered. The camera was inside my room, but I had never put a camera there. I watched the video carefully. Then, suddenly, a shadow appeared on the screen, near my bedroom door.
Tall.
Extremely tall, and completely black. He was slowly entering the room. In my house. At that moment, I immediately ran outside. "Ryan!" Jack's voice came from behind.
I didn't stop.
I walked down the stairs to the door, but as soon as I stepped out, my breath caught, because the rain had disappeared. The road had disappeared. The entire neighborhood had disappeared. I was standing somewhere else, in a long, dark hallway. There were old TVs on the walls, hundreds of TVs, thousands of TVs, and on each TV was a different person. Some were crying, some were screaming, some were just sitting quietly. Then I saw Jack on one screen. On the other screen, in myself, my heart sank. I saw under my name, status, pending. Under Jack's name, status, collected. The ground gave way under my feet. Collected? What did that mean? Then a door opened at the end of the hallway. A man stepped out of the darkness.
Tall.
Very tall. His face was invisible, but his smile shone even in the darkness. He slowly walked towards me. One step, then another, then a third. And with each step, all the TVs began to speak in unison. New viewer. New viewer. New viewer. I tried to run, but my feet wouldn't move. The creature was now only a few steps away. Then for the first time he spoke, and his voice was like the voices of thousands of people. "Ryan Miller, you like to watch. Now you will be watched." At that moment, all the TVs turned off. The entire corridor was plunged into darkness, and I felt someone's hand on my shoulder. As soon as that hand fell on my shoulder, a jolt of electricity ran through my entire body. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run, but my body wouldn't support me. The entire corridor was plunged into darkness. Thousands of TVs had gone silent, and that tall creature was standing right in front of me. Then suddenly, a yellow light flashed. I opened my eyes and was shocked. I was no longer in the corridor. I was standing in an old office-like room. There were files on the walls, rusty cabinets, broken computers, and everywhere around. It seemed as if this place had been closed for decades. But the strangest thing was in front of me. An old man, white hair, thin stature, and frightened eyes. He was sitting behind a desk, as if waiting for me. "You've finally arrived," he said in a low voice. "Who are you?" I asked. "And what is this place?" The old man took a deep breath. "My name is Edward Hayes, and I'm the last person to escape this thing." A thrill ran through my body. "What thing?" Edward looked at me silently. Then he said softly, "Watcher." The room fell silent. "What is it?" I asked. Fear appeared in Edward's eyes. A fear that perhaps had not disappeared even after 50 years. He is not a human, not a ghost, not even a demon. He only watches. And the more people see it, the more powerful it becomes. I couldn't understand anything. Edward got up. He opened a cupboard and took out an old file and placed it in front of me. The file read, "Project Watcher, 1984. I opened the file. My heart stopped beating when I saw the first page. There was a picture in it. The same tall creature. The same smile. The same dark shadow. This picture was taken in 1984. Edward spoke. There was no internet then, but the Watcher was still there. I listened silently. Edward began to say, 40 years ago, some scientists were experimenting on human consciousness. They wanted to know if the attention of millions of people could be concentrated in one place. Is human vision itself an energy? Then, I asked. They made something that should never have been made.
His voice was trembling.
At first it was just a signal, then a sound, then a consciousness. And finally, he woke up. The temperature in the room suddenly began to drop. I looked back helplessly. Black smoke was billowing from under the door. Edward's face turned white. He's found us.
Who?
Watcher. At that moment, all the computers turned on at once. The screens flickered. The same face on each screen. The same person. The same unnatural smile. Then a voice came from all the screens at once. Ryan. I stepped back in fear. You're getting close to the truth. And I don't like it. The computer screens started to shake. The walls started to shake. It felt like the whole building was breathing. Then there was a loud explosion.
Boom.
The door cracked open, and out of the darkness he appeared. The Watcher. He was about 10 feet tall. His arms were unusually long. His face was blurred, and there was only blackness for his eyes. He entered silently. Edward screamed, "Run, Ryan."
Now.
I ran for the door, but at the last moment I turned back. The Watcher had grabbed Edward. Edward was screaming, but then his body began to turn into mist. First his hands disappeared, then his face, then his entire being. In just a few seconds he was completely gone, as if he had never been there. The Watcher slowly turned to me, and for the first time, I saw his eyes. Inside those eyes, thousands of people were trapped, screaming, begging for help. And in them, I saw Jack too. He was alive, but trapped somewhere inside. Inside the Watcher's eyes.
Then he looked at me and smiled.
"You're next." At that moment, a new notification appeared on my phone. LastViewer.Live. Special stream starting now. And below it was, featured guest, Ryan Miller. My blood froze. Because this time, the victim wasn't just chosen. It was going to be broadcast. My eyes were fixed on the phone screen. Featured guest, Ryan Miller. My name, my picture. And below it, a countdown was running. 2 hours 59 minutes and 58 seconds. 2 hours 59 minutes and 57 seconds. 2 hours 59 minutes and 56 seconds. 3 hours. That's all there was left. I ran out of the building with all my might. The Watcher's voice echoed somewhere behind me. "You can run, but you can't hide." I didn't look back. A few minutes later, I found myself on a deserted street. The rain had stopped. The night was unusually quiet.
Just then, my phone rang.
Unknown caller. I picked up the call. "Ryan." A woman's voice came. I was startled.
Who?
"My name is Sarah Collins. And if you want to live, listen to me carefully." I fell silent. The Watcher cannot be destroyed, but it can be weakened. And its power is stored in one place. Zero server. It was the first time I had heard that name. Where is it? There was silence for a few moments. In the Nevada desert. An underground facility. That's where it all began. The call ended. Only one location appeared on my phone. Zero facility. The countdown was still running. 2 hours 31 minutes and 11 seconds. I didn't have time to think. I left immediately. The next several hours passed like a hazy dream. Highways, deserted towns, deserted gas stations, and ever-increasing fear. As time passed, the countdown was getting shorter. 1 hour 48 minutes and 22 seconds. 1 hour 21 minutes and 9 seconds. 57 minutes and 40 seconds. Finally, just before sunrise, I reached the Nevada desert. In front of me stood a rusted complex in the distance. Broken towers. A war-torn gate.
And a sign.
Restricted area. Closed since 1984. I crossed the gate and entered. There was desolation everywhere. But a strange feeling kept following me.
As if someone was watching me. No.
As if thousands of eyes were watching me. There was an elevator inside the complex. The elevator was still working. It was strange. How could there be electricity in a place that had been closed for 40 years? The elevator opened automatically and started going down. -1, -5, -12, -20. With each floor, my heart rate increased. Finally, the elevator stopped. The door opened, and what I saw, it changed my mind. In front of me was a giant hall, so big that I couldn't see the end of it. And in the middle of this hall, a server stood.
No,
Not a server, a giant machine, as high as several floors, connected to thousands of wires, and something was beating inside it, like a living heart.
damn, damn, damn.
The entire hall was shaking with its beating. I slowly got closer. A name was written above the machine. Observer Core. Suddenly, all the monitors lit up. A different face appeared on each screen. Thousands of people. Millions of people. Everyone who had ever seen LastViewer.Live. Among them was Jack. He was screaming, "Ryan, shut it down. Quickly." Then his image disappeared. I ran to the control panel. There were only 2 options on the screen. Shut down.
Connect.
I was about to press shut down when the entire hall shook. All the lights went out, and a familiar voice echoed in the darkness. Wrong choice. I turned slowly. The watcher was standing behind me, but now he was much larger than before. His head was almost touching the ceiling, and inside his eyes were no longer thousands, millions of faces. Then he smiled. "You think this server powers me? No, Ryan. This server is holding me captive." My heart stopped. What? The watcher came closer, and for the first time, I could hear joy in his voice. "If you shut it down, then I'll be free." My hands froze on the control panel. If the server keeps running, then people will be imprisoned. If the server is shut down, then maybe the watcher will be free all over the world. At that moment, the countdown reached 0. 10 seconds. 9 seconds. 8 seconds. The watcher was smiling, and for the first time I realized maybe I was part of his game from the beginning. There were only a few seconds left before the countdown ended. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. I had 2 choices. Shut down.
Or connect.
The watcher was watching me silently. His smile had deepened. "Choose, Ryan." His voice echoed throughout the hall. Every story has an end. I looked at the monitors. Thousands of faces were looking at me. Scared. Anxious. Full of hope. Jack was among them all. "Ryan," he shouted. "Don't listen to him. He's lying." Then the screen went dark again. The watcher laughed.
For the first time.
And hearing his laughter made my body shiver. "You don't understand yet. They're not all inside me. I'm inside them." My mind exploded. "What do you mean?" I screamed. The watcher slowly approached. Then he extended his hand, and suddenly images began to appear in front of me. 1984. The same laboratory. The same scientist. The same experiment. But this time I was seeing everything clearly. The scientists had not created a creature. They had created an artificial consciousness. A program that could learn from human attention, could connect to human minds, and store their memories. At first it was just an experiment. But then, someone tried to shut it down. And at that moment something went wrong. The program went haywire. It began to use people's minds to keep itself alive. The same program later became the Watcher. I forgot to breathe. "So you're an AI?" The Watcher remained silent, then smiled. "I am more than that. I am a part of everyone who has seen me. I am the sum of millions of memories. And now, I am about to be completed." At that moment, my eyes fell on a part of the control panel, where there was nothing before. Now there was a third option. Transfer. I was shocked. It wasn't there before. The Watcher's face changed for the first time, as if he was troubled. "What is this?" I asked. No answer. I quickly opened the system log, and what I read, it changed everything. Transfer meant transferring the observer core to a new host. That is, the Watcher could not be destroyed. It could only be transferred inside a human, and then it would separate from the server. My breath stopped. That's why the Watcher was terrified. If it were free, the world would be in danger. But if it were confined to a single body, the rest of the people could be free. Then I understood everything. From the beginning. Why my name had been chosen. Why he kept me alive instead of killing me. Why he let me reach the Zero server. He wanted a host. And that host was me. The Watcher was now standing right in front of me.
Don't do this. He pleaded for the first time.
You don't know what will happen next. I laughed. Perhaps for the first time in the entire story. And you know, the Watcher fell silent. I saw Jack's picture. Then all the others. Millions of imprisoned souls. And then he put his hand on the transfer button. The Watcher screamed. A scream that was not human. The entire complex began to shake. All the monitors began to break. The ground began to shake. And then, I pressed the button. White light spread throughout the hall. The Watcher's screams began to echo. And I felt that something was entering me. Very cold. Very old. Very dangerous. The last thing I heard was the Watcher's voice. Now you will understand me. And one day, you will begin to see too. Then everything was plunged into darkness. The first thing I remember was silence. Complete silence. No sound. No light. No feeling. It was as if I was suspended in an infinite void. Time didn't even exist. Maybe a few seconds had passed. Maybe years. I don't know. Then suddenly, I opened my eyes. A bright white light began to pierce my eyes. I was lying in a hospital bed. For a few moments, I didn't understand where I was. Then a nurse ran towards me. Oh my God, he's awake. A few minutes later, the doctor entered the room. According to him, I had been unconscious for 3 weeks. There had been a huge explosion in the Zero server complex. The government had sealed off the entire place. And I was pulled out of the rubble alive. And Jack? I asked immediately. The doctor looked at me in surprise. Jack Foster. He was found 2 days ago. Perfectly healthy. A thrill ran through my body. Jack was alive. That meant the transfer had been successful. The next few days passed as usual. I returned home from the hospital. The police asked many questions. But there were no official records of the Zero server. As if the place had never existed. And the strangest thing, LastViewer.Live had also disappeared. There was no trace of it on the internet. No website. No archive. No evidence. As if the whole story had been erased. But I knew it wasn't over, because something inside me was alive. I first felt it a week later. I was sleeping at night. Then suddenly my eyes opened. The room was dark, but I clearly felt that someone was watching me. I sat up in bed. The room was empty. But then, an image appeared in my mind. A stranger. In another city. He was sitting in front of his laptop. I immediately closed my eyes. But the image did not disappear. I could still see him. His room. His desk. His window. Everything. I was scared. Because I was not there. Yet I was watching him. Just like the Watcher sees people. Over the next few weeks, this ability grew. Sometimes I would see glimpses of strangers. Sometimes their dreams. Never their memories. I had learned that the Watcher had not completely disappeared during the transfer. A part of him was still alive inside me. And with each passing day, that part was getting stronger. One night, Jack came to my house. We sat in silence for a long time. Then he asked, "Is it really all over?" I didn't answer, because I couldn't lie. That night, after Jack left, I stood by the window. It was raining, just like the rain. The night it all started. Just then, my computer turned on automatically. My heart pounded. I slowly approached it. There was only a black page on the screen. And in the middle, a white sentence. System active. My breath caught. Then another sentence appeared. Host detected. And then, a third. Welcome, observer. The temperature in the room suddenly dropped. A familiar whisper rang in my ears. The voice was no longer coming from outside. It was inside my own mind. I'm not finished. I've just changed. I tried to shut down the computer, but the last message appeared on the screen. New network created. Status. Online. Current viewers 1. Then the number changed. Current viewers 2. Current viewers 5. Current viewers 17. Current viewers 42. My blood froze. I hadn't even started a website. Then where were the people coming from? The number kept increasing. 100, 500, 1,000, and then a live video appeared on the screen. I saw myself standing in my own room at that moment.
Live.
And a chat window opened below the video. The first message came. Who is this? The second. Is this a new horror stream? The third. Why does this guy look so scared? I stared at the screen. Then a whisper came close to my ear. This time it was very clear. The viewers are back. And now, you are their guardian. The number of viewers on the screen kept growing. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. And then the entire screen went black. Only one sentence remained. Are you watching too? The end.